color of the crocodile is much lighter, more of a light gray opposed to the very dark green to almost black of the American alligator. When seen in profile, the crocodile has less of an eye ridge, whereas the American alligator has a very high and pronounced eye ridge. Also, when seen in profile with the crocodile's mouth closed, we see all of its teeth smiling back at us, whereas the American alligator, when its mouth is closed, we only see a couple of its top teeth. And when seen from overhead, the crocodile has more of a V-shaped snout, opposed to the very broad U-shaped snout of the American alligator. And the scoops or the fins on the crocodile's tail are much more pronounced. Right here in South Coastal Florida, we're at the very top of the crocodile's range. They are a tropical reptile. We won't find them any farther north than right here. This is the same species that can be found at the top of South America, Central America, Mexico, the islands of Cuba, Jamaica, Key Largo, and right here in Flamingo. The American alligator is a freshwater species, but we can find them here in the brackish water for up to about 2 weeks before they need to venture off and find a source of fresh water. Right here in South Coastal Florida, we're at the very bottom of the alligator's range. They are a more temperate reptile. They can handle a little bit cooler temperatures. They can be found right here in South Coastal Florida, all the way up to North Carolina, and as far west as Texas. But this is the only place in the world, folks, the only place in the entire world where we have the opportunity to see both crocodiles and alligators coexisting in the same waters. Now, out of the 25 or so crocodilian species in the world today, which include crocodiles, alligators, caimans, there are only 2 that give this reptile its ferocious reputation. And those can be found in Australia and the Nile River of Africa. There they can grow to a length of over 25 feet and eat a wildebeest for lunch and are responsible perhaps for over 1,000 human fatalities a year. The crocs and gators that we have here won't get any larger than 15 feet. They're very comfortable eating once every 7 to 10 days, and they won't eat anything larger than their head or what they can swallow whole, what we call around here a lunchbox-sized meal. And that's apparently why it's safe for you to go canoeing and kayaking in these waters amongst all these large reptiles. Last year, we had a couple of baby manatee that were born in this end of the canal, and everyone was really concerned for their safety. But as it turns out, when a manatee is born, it comes out. It was completed in 1900. The coral snake, and the venom from the coral snake is in the neurotoxin family of venom. What a neurotoxin does is it attacks your central nervous system. It breaks down your nerve cells. It shuts down your respiratory system. Basically shuts you down. Now they say one bit by this little stick. You have about 1 hour to get to the hospital. Now y'all drove into the park. There's a matter. Not very far. Now we do have a snake that's here in the park. It's not native.
All right, don't brace too much here for fall over this.
It's gonna eat.
You're gonna go in the water. And then the mama will eat you.
And Mama will eat you. Be a nice dinner.
Yeah.
Be a snack. Go ahead.
Without warning.
So what is that dust?
Recognize this tree.
This
folks, when
is
it's
a manchineel
down
tree.
through
This is the most toxic plant in the Western Hemisphere.
Now, folks,
Just
if you're a
rubbing
tree
against
hugger,
this tree
this is one tree
will
you
alterate
don't
your
wanna
skin,
hug.
blisters
It's a
and burns.
manchineel tree.
The sap
Now,
from
if
this
you
tree
Google
eats
for
right
this
through
tree,
you.
you're gonna read lots and
It is
lots
grow
of
some
stories
small
on it.
green grape-sized
Park
apple
literature
early
really
summer.
only has about
2
2
bites of these
sentences on
apples
this tree.
will surely kill you.
Basically telling you to stay away
Literally
from the
dissolve
tree
your
and
esophagus.
don't eat the
Think
green
drinking
apple.
Drano. And this tree is native
From a
to this
deadly
part of
tree
Florida.
to an edible
It's another
tree.
one of tropical
This next
delights.
tree could actually eat, and it
When the
won't
Spanish
kill
was
you.
here in 1500 traipsing about, the Spanish dubbed this tree El Arbo de la Mente, tree of death. So recognize this tree is downtown jubilee green leaves. If you're a tree hugger, you do not want to hug this tree.
Wow.
They remove all from the hiking trail. They leave a few in the canal
Okay,
for
look
the
up to the
canoe
front left corner of the
kayakers
boat. What you're looking for is the
without
palm
warning.
tree. The palm
when the
tree.
Calusa Indians,
See the
when
palm
they're
tree
ready to
up
go and
here?
hunt or warfare, they have the top of the street and they coat the tip of the
This
arrow
is the cabbage
before
palm.
they shoot any wild
I know
animals
it
and
is swamp
humans.
cabbage.
And
You
how's
folks
the
may have
animals
heard of
deal with
it
it, the bird?
as heart of
Do you know is it
palm.
dangerous?
Most
They're dangerous.
recently
The border
been
eat the
labeled the
apples.
sable palm, and it's the
No animals don't
Florida
eat it.
state tree.
No animals don't eat
If
this
you took
apples.
an axe and it's going to be hard to determine where one tree starts and the next one ends. It's going to look prehistoric, and it reminds me of the Steven Spielberg movie, Jurassic Park. It's coming up right here on the right. And it's excellent for photography, especially in the light this time of day, folks. And trust me, I'll say that more than 4 times daily. Excellent, excelente, magnifique, wunderbar, prachtig, zunder, genau, ichiban, melia, perfecto, should go. Welcome to Cuba, folks. This is what the Spanish would have seen back in the 1500s if they'd not have made the Calusa map. Remember, they didn't make it this far, not for many years. Looking off to the left, you see some pipes sticking out of the water. These are marking the remnants of an old houseboat that had been converted into a restaurant where they actually had coot gizzards and rice on the menu. Not only was it a restaurant, but it was also a gambling parlor, a speakeasy, a brothel, what they termed in the day a full-service establishment. It burned down in 1958 and the Park Service said no more. Now we're going to head left and cross Coot Bay. We're going to stick to the marked channel when we cross, which is going to afford us the maximum depth out here of 3.5 to 4 feet or 1.5 meters going across. It's going to be picking up speed, so hold on to your hats, your personal possessions, and of course, as always, your small children. If you'd like to come back here and take your picture driving the boat or your kid's picture driving the boat, you're welcome to do that.
Wow.看成绩了，我给他开他的注意力了，让他不上车。
哎，那你说啥？这个。啊。哎。看前面都漂亮。
漂亮。
Through here every high and low tide. This creek has many twists and turns to it, unlike the straight-through man-made Buttonwood Canal that we came out of. And the red mangroves, or the walking mangroves that line the banks here, can walk no further out from the banks than where they're at, because as the aerial roots try to grow out and take hold to extend the tree, the current snaps them off. So this is as wide as this creek has always been. The park does no maintenance on these trees out here. The water does it for them. Now if you'll look here to the right, you're going to notice a massive old dead mangrove tree. You're going to see a lot of these throughout the creek. They're not so impressive to look at, but the reason that I mention it is that back in the 1940s, 1950s, these mangrove trees grew so tall that they actually formed a canopy over this creek. Then in